Maybe people have forgotten about this, but President Trump campaigned heavily on ending wars. Here is his first post-election speech to his supporters, where he said he intends to not start wars, but end them. Take a listen.
But we had no wars. They said, he will start a war. I'm not going to start a war. I'm going to stop wars.
What we've seen since appears to be completely contrary to the initial campaign messaging. Escalations in the Middle East and escalations in Europe have continued, specifically Ukraine and Russia. We did see extraordinary initial efforts from the current administration to cool the jets, initiate talks between Russia and Ukraine, and instigate peace, but those efforts proved to be unfruitful to the point where Donald Trump was telling Ukraine they may even have to concede some territory. The killing from both sides must stop. Zelensky stated in August that the fighting between Russia and Ukraine will continue until he decides it ends, ruling out any compromise with Russia. It's worth mentioning that in the midst of this brutal war, in July, Zelensky was actively working towards legalizing pornography production in Ukraine. So his priorities are quite clear. What we're now seeing is somewhat of a total change in rhetoric and approach. This is from antiwar.com. Trump claims Ukraine can retake all territory captured by Russia, may be able to go further. The comments reflect the opinion of Trump's special envoy to Ukraine, Keith Kellogg. It says, President Trump claimed on Tuesday that Ukraine could retake all of the territory Russian forces have captured since the February 2022 invasion and may be able to go further, suggesting he's willing to back the idea of a Ukrainian invasion of Russia. After getting to know and fully understand the Ukraine-Russia military and economic situation, and after seeing the economic trouble it is causing Russia, I think Ukraine, with the support of the European Union, is in a position to fight and win all of Ukraine back in its original form, the president said in a long post on Truth Social. With time, patience, and the financial support of Europe, and in particular NATO, the original borders from where this war started is very much an option. Why not? Russia has been fighting aimlessly for 3.5 years, a war that should have taken a real military power less than a week to win, the president added. Trump said that Russia looked like a paper tiger and that Ukraine was getting better. His comments reflect the opinion of his special envoy for Ukraine, Keith Kellogg, who recently claimed the US could kick Russia's ass and insisted that Ukraine could win the war despite Russia's continued gains in eastern Ukraine and its clear manpower advantage. Trump said in his post that Ukraine could be able to take back their country in its original form and who knows, maybe even go further than that. The president also claimed that Russia and Putin were in big economic trouble, though there's no sign that threats of new US sanctions or tariffs will have any impact on the war. In any event, I wish both countries well. We will continue to supply weapons to NATO for NATO to do what they want with them. Good luck to all, the president said in the conclusion of his post. Trump's comment that the US will continue to supply weapons to NATO refers to the new initiative under which US allies are providing the funds for US weapons that will be shipped to Ukraine. Reuters reported last week that the Trump administration approved the first weapons packages that will be drawn from US military stockpiles under the initiative, known as the Prioritized Ukraine Requirements List, or PURL. Trump has justified his continued support for the proxy war, which he pledged to end while on the campaign by pointing to the fact that NATO countries are now funding US weapons shipments. But the US recently approved a cruise missile deal for Ukraine that will be partially funded by the US, and the Trump administration has continued arms shipments that were previously approved by President Biden. So we'll just read you the final part of that Truth Social post once again. Ukraine would be able to take back their country in its original form, and who knows, maybe even go further than that. Putin and Russia are in big economic trouble, and this is the time for Ukraine to act. In any event, I wish both countries well. We will continue to supply weapons to NATO for NATO to do what they want with them. Good luck to all. Now here we have some comments from our favourite political warmonger, Lindsey Graham, who's very, very happy about this. Take a listen to what he had to say on Fox News, and Sean Hannity was also very happy about this. Have a listen.
Putin is a paper tiger. He should have won that war in 7 days. Didn't happen.
Trump 2028. I hope this never ends. When he asks, what should you do if a Russian jet flies into your country? Shoot it down. He's tried to go out of his way to get Putin to the table. We don't want to humiliate Russia. We just want to end the war. And to our friends in Russia, here's what Trump did today. He told NATO, I'll sell you all the weapons you want. You can provide them to Ukraine. And as to Ukraine, you can use them any way you want. So to the Russian military, you're going to be up against the high-end American weapons that will be sold to NATO for the benefit of Ukraine. And this war is coming to your backyard here with no limitations like Biden. He's everything Biden wasn't.
So Lindsey Graham, frothing at the mouth, essentially tells us Biden didn't go far enough and President Trump will and is. Now, as tensions escalate in that area, war continues and people continue to die. Many hope that cooler heads prevail and this war actually does come to an end. We shall see.